Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching my Australian Open 2018 vlog. It's time to preview day 6, but before I do that, as usual, some reflections on day 5. It was another day where heat played a major part. Temperatures touched 40 degrees in some cases. They were even unofficially speculating that it was closer to 42 degrees. So lots of players suffered, especially those playing in the day session on the outside courts. I think a lot of players really struggled to handle it. And once again, probably the quality of play was affected by the temperatures as well. Nonetheless, there were some gripping matches. One game that I didn't expect to be high quality was actually very engaging, and that featured the qualifier who beat Belinda Bencic from Thailand, Luxika Kumkum, taking on Petra Martic. It was a fascinating match. Both players played really well. Martic served really well throughout the game, but Kumkum, with her angles and her ability to hit both her forehand and backhand double handed, created some amazing winners. And it's really quite interesting to watch a player who plays double handed on the forehand as well, because to me, it almost seems like they sort of hit really backhands of both wings, a left handed backhand and a right handed backhand. That's how it actually looks to me, when especially when they pull off winners. And for the most part, I thought Kumkum was actually going to defeat Martic because she had more comfort with the temperatures being from Thailand. I don't think she was that distracted by the climate as much as Martic was. But kudos to Martic, she just hung in there, and towards the end, she seized on some opportunities and won in a tight three-setter, 7-5 in the third set. So Martic is now on to the round of 16, following up on her round of 16 performance at Wimbledon last year. Then another game that went the distance was Kyle Edmund's win over Gabriashvili from Georgia. Another game that went the distance, the fifth set again 7-5. In all honesty, I think Edmund should have won this in a more convincing manner. He had 27 break points throughout the match, but only converted 7. I think if he'd have converted a few more, he would have won in straight sets, maybe even 4. Another notable result was Yelena Ostapenko, the French Open champion, losing in the third round to Annette Kontaveit. Now, in my day 5 preview, I had flagged this match as a potential exciting match. 3 sets, and I think Kontaveit ended up winning. Ostapenko was another player who talked about the conditions. She just wasn't able to adjust. Kontaveit adjusted better. Now, the good news is that yesterday was the hottest day. The rest of the tournament is forecasted to be cooler. We're not going to reach anywhere near 40 for the rest of the tournament. So hopefully that will result in better quality of play. So let's look forward to day 6. Some big matches. The end of the third round. I'm going to preview 4 matches in the women's draw and 4 matches in the men's draw. Now, one game that features compatriots from the Czech Republic, Lucy Safarova versus Karolina Pliskova. Karolina Pliskova is playing really well. They've played 7 times before. Pliskova leads the head-to-head 5-2, and Safarova's 2 wins have come on clay. Clay, of course, being Safarova's favorite surface. After all, she is a French Open finalist. You'd have to give Pliskova the edge over here. Pliskova's serving really well. And I think when Pliskova's serving really well, hitting aces, winning points off her first serve, that brings a lot of confidence to her game. The rest of her game just follows. She does have more weapons than Safarova. Safarova, though, is more experienced, and with that lefty angle, she can create a lot of problems. One thing you can guarantee with Safarova is even when she plays a higher seeded player, she never gives in, and she's going to make Pliskova work hard. Though I see Pliskova coming through in maybe 2 tight sets. Another women's game that's got me really interested in Naomi Osaka, the 20-year-old from Japan who upset Alina Visnina in the second round. She's taking on Ashley Barty, the last remaining Australian women in the draw, and there is a lot of home hopes on Ashley. I think this is going to be an interesting match. With the crowd backing Ashley, I think that might get under Naomi Osaka's feathers, though I think Osaka is a more talented shot maker. But I'm going to give Barty the edge in this one. 3 sets for the home favorite. Then the big women's match of the day that everyone's looking forward to, Angie Kerber versus Maria Sharapova, both Grand Slam champions. Both of them have won the Australian Open. And so it's, in fact, quite a treat to see this match being played in the round of 32. This is usually a game that you would expect in the quarterfinals or semifinals. They've played each other 7 times before. Sharapova leads the head-to-head 4-3. And I think the last three or four meetings on hard court have been very close. They've gone the distance, three sets, and I'm expecting another three setter over here. Now, going by the first two rounds, I think Sharapova is clearly playing with a more explosive game. She's got more shots in her arsenal. But Kerber, who's undefeated in 2018 after a horrible 2017, is reminding me of how she played in 2016 when she was able to run down every ball, where she was able to find winners off tough angles. She's doing that again this year, so she's looking in fine fettle. You'd say that Sharapova is the better all-round player, but I think Kerber is a little bit more match fit than Sharapova, and I think she will be able. Sharapova may even take a set in convincing fashion because of her dominant playing style, but she's not able to keep it up consistently. I think Kerber's just going to hang in tough over there and just edge this out in three sets, but it really could go either way. Now, the last women's match I want to talk about is Agi Radwanska, former Australian Open semi-finalist, consistently quarterfinalist, semi-finalist at most Grand Slams, taking on Shea Sue, who beat Garbiñe Muguruza in the second round. Now, this is a really interesting match because neither of these players rely on power exclusively. They both rely on craft and finesse. I think Radwanska's got more to her game, whereas for Shea, you know what? I never get her name right. Shacey Sway. When she beat Garbiñe Muguruza in the last round, I think she was able to rely on Muguruza's frustration and inability to hit the big shots. Now, Radwanska doesn't go big, and I think because her game is safer, she'll be able to nullify most of the strengths of the lady from Chinese Taipei, but it should be an interesting night match. Now, on to the men's singles, where there are also some interesting games. The first one is Alexander Zverev versus Yeon Chung. You know, both these players are 21 years old. A lot of expectations from both of them. People think these two are going to be future world number ones, and I would echo that thought. Now, Zverev is of course, a clear favorite, but they've only played once before on clay last year, and Chung won. And Chung's defensive game is absolutely fantastic. Now, I think if Zverev starts well, takes command of the match, he should win in straight sets because he's got the bigger game, the better game. However, what we've seen with Zverev at the Grand Slam so far, why he's not been able to have that proper breakthrough at a Grand Slam so far, is mentally sometimes he can be a bit lacking. And considering Chung can run down some balls, win some unexpected points, if Zverev gets ruffled, I think Chung has a chance because his defense is stronger. I'm going to just go with Zverev, provided that Zverev stays fully focused throughout the game. But any drop in intensity, any sort of unruffling mentally, and I think Chung can cause an upset over here. Another game that's interesting is Dominic Thiem versus Adrian Manarino. Now, Dominic Thiem has a 6-0 head-to-head win record against Manarino. Now, this match is interesting because Dominic Thiem has often been criticized for having a sort of clay court approach, playing deep behind the baseline even when it's on the faster hard courts, and that sometimes does nullify his game against bigger hitters. Now, Manarino is actually not a bigger hitter, and in many ways, Manarino, if you'd have been playing someone like a maybe Juan Martin Del Potro, Joe Wilfried Songa, or even a Marin Cilic, I think Manarino would be a very tricky opponent because what he's very good at is retrieving balls and not generating pace of his own, but using his opponent's paces against them. Now, Thiem doesn't hit the ball so hard, and I think that's why Thiem has that 6-0 record against Manarino. Nonetheless, I'm expecting lots of good rallies, and the way Thiem played against Dennis Kudla, where he really didn't look like the world number 5, and he was kind of maybe relied on his experience to get through that round. If Thiem plays below his best again, despite having that undefeated record against Manarino, Manarino is the kind of player that can easily catch you off guard. So it should be an interesting match. I'm going with Thiem in 4 sets in this one. Now, another match that features 2 seeds is Thomas Berdych versus Juan Martin Del Potro. Another game that another matchup, another head-to-head that we're probably more used to seeing in later rounds, but they're playing in the 3rd round. This should be a fascinating battle. I wouldn't be surprised if this went 4 sets or 5 sets. Juan Martin defeated Karen Khachanov in 4 sets, a game between 2 big hitters, and this is another match between 2 big hitters. I think Juan Martin just will edge this one over Thomas Berdych. Although Berdych has a very good Australian Open record, consistently has made the semi-finals of this tournament, quarterfinals on other occasions. I think Juan Martin, he leads the head-to-head 5-3. I think he's got a few more weapons in his arsenal, even compensating for the fact that Berdych might have the better backhand. I just think if Juan Martin serves well, hits his forehand well, he is very hard to beat. So I think Juan Martin will edge this in a thriller. And then the final match that I want to talk about features Roger Federer and Richard Gasquet, the battle of single-handed backhands. They've played each other 18 times. Roger Federer leads the head-to-head 16-2. And in fact, Federer was so confident that after winning in the second round, when asked about Gasquet, he even referenced those two losses that he had to Gasquet, saying he had match points in both of them. So that tells you the level of dominance that Federer has, and I expect that dominance to continue. And I would be surprised if Gasquet was able to take it to a fourth set. The reason I still won't pick this match as a match to watch out for is just because the sheer artistry of Gasquet. Federer himself has said many times he enjoys watching Gasquet play a lot. I'm expecting lots of shot making, lots of flashy winners from both sides of the court, but I think Federer's overall consistency and greater power should see him through in 3 sets. So that's it for my preview. I'm hoping these matches live up to the billing and all of us get to enjoy a fantastic day 6 at the Australian Open. I'll be back with you for a preview of day 7 of the Australian Open. This is Wasim Parkar signing out.